Welcome back everybody, my name is 6930 and today we're going to be looking at the top 10 things that need to be in the new Star Wars Battlefront II game. I really enjoyed the last Battlefront game and it's great to finally see the franchise has returned, but with the new game around the corner, let's try and identify some areas where this new DICE version of the game can improve. Now we already know features like Prequel Era and the new Force Awakens era will be in the game along with a full single player campaign. So we're going to try and focus on things that are currently unconfirmed or have been confirmed but we haven't seen much detail about it. Number 10, ammo. The old Battlefront games had limited ammo for grenades and blasters. The new Battlefront was built on a system of cooldowns and overheating. I'm fine with the guns being unlimited ammo, but the grenades being recharged after a few seconds only encourages mindless grenade spam, which is never fun to be on the receiving end of. Make it so players only get one grenade each spawn and need to use it wisely. Bring back the ammo gonk droids at captured outposts that will resupply these grenades and various other gadgets, but make it so they're at a very slow rate to avoid the spam issue. Number 9, returning maps. The newest Battlefront game by DICE featured a ton of cool maps by the time all the DLC had been released. Maps like Cloud City and the Death Star were a lot of fun, and I'd love to see these maps return to the new game and be available at launch. It would be a real shame to see all the work that went into making those maps gone to waste, considering very few people got to actually experience them. Number 8, squads. One of my biggest gripes with the Battlefront franchise was its lack of communication and teamwork. The most we got was the ability to add your friend as your partner in the main menu, and they display with a yellow name over their head. This needs to be expanded upon, and players should be able to join squads with full voice support, squad spawn, and squad leaders that could issue direct orders for objectives. This would add a whole new level of variety to the gameplay and keep the game from turning into a repetitive deathmatch, where none of your friends are really working together. Number 7, online and offline bot support. The original Battlefront games weren't made popular because of the online multiplayer components. The old games always featured an offline instant action mode that let you play all of the game's levels with full teams of bot enemies and allies. This allowed you to play all of your favorite Star Wars fantasies like tripping AT-AT walkers without having to worry about being good at the game, and it was fun playing cooperatively or even competitively with your friends in these modes. DICE eventually had a designer add in skirmish mode to the EA Battlefront game, and this was okay, but it really didn't have that many maps. It only had the game's base maps. You couldn't play any of the DLC maps. I would love to see an instant action mode return similar to Terrorist Hunt in Rainbow Six Siege that lets you earn points but at a slower rate that actually apply to your online character. Number 6, weapon customization. None of the Battlefront games have featured much in the way of weapon customization, but rumor has it that Battlefront II plans on changing that. I hope that the new Battlefront game allows you to swap scopes based on preference, adjust barrels to balance accuracy or weapon overheat, and maybe even change the weapon skin after obtaining a certain amount of kills or objective captures. I just hope they don't do that stupid weapon crate battle pack thing. Number 5, better balancing. Another major issue I had with the last Battlefront game was its lack of good balance. The Rebel Alliance had incredible air superiority every time thanks to their shield ability on their fighters. The TIE fighters were no match against the X-Wings. From what I've heard, the new Battlefront will let you customize your aircraft, so hopefully this means there will be a level playing field this time around. Number 4, no minigame mechanics. The original Battlefront games had you and a co-pilot actually fly out of the Hoth base in an airspeeder, aim the tow cable, fire it at the walker's legs, and the pilot had to carefully fly around the walker his or herself. The new Battlefront simply has you fly in by yourself in an airspeeder and press a button to begin a stupid balance minigame to trip the walker. It's unsatisfying and way too easy. I hope they remove this and any other silly minigames and just make the game a little bit more challenging. Number 3, no tokens. Another change I really didn't like with the new Battlefront was the addition of weapon, hero, and vehicle tokens. These tokens awarded players with instant access to powerful tools that could help turn the tides of the battle. Unfortunately, they were annoying to try and collect because they were sitting in the middle of the battlefield, and teammates would stop paying attention to the objective just to chase after Jedi token, and it really just took everyone away from what was happening. This needs to change and go back to the way things were in the old Battlefront games. Heroes should only be rewarded to players who earn them. Players at the top of the scoreboard should be given the chance to use the heroes, as they're the ones that are most likely going to benefit their team greatly by switching to someone more powerful. The weapon and charge tokens just flooded the battlefield and they were just useless clutter. And vehicles should only be accessible from bases of deployment, just like in the Battlefield franchise. Number 2, no paywall maps. The DLC for Star Wars Battlefront was a major problem that helped kill the online community, making it an empty shell of a game with pretty graphics and no content. While the maps themselves are great and offered plenty of variety, the community simply didn't go for the season pass, and all of these brand new maps were wastelands by the time they released. If you're going to release new maps for a game, do not force players to pay for it. This not only alienates players that don't want to pay for new content, turning them away from the game altogether, but it also screws over people who paid for the content, only to find out that as soon as they install the DLC, there's no one online to play with. If you need DLC to make ends meet for game development, make it cosmetic items that you don't need in order to play the game. Don't separate your game's online community from each other, or you end up splitting it apart. And number 1, less game modes. This seems kind of counterproductive considering all people want from the new Battlefront game is more content, but I believe the large variety in game modes is what drove many people away at the start of the last game. Online competitive games are more successful when they are focused and try to do one thing. If you add too many game modes like Rush, Pigeon Attack, or Death Star, you end up splitting your community more and more. The new Battlefront game should only have 2 online game modes, Assault and Conquest. Assault should be a combination of Walker Assault and Space Assault game types. Walker Assault is self-explanatory, and that game mode worked really well in the last Battlefront. And we all know the new Battlefront game will feature the return of space combat, so Space Assault is the natural way forward. Space Assault would pit 2 teams against each other in space as they attempt to destroy each other's capital ship, much like the Battlefront II game. The second game mode would be Old School Conquest, which was missing from the previous Battlefront, oddly enough. By sticking to a classic game mode and a new, more epic game mode, you split your community into casual player base and more old school competitive player base. Any other modes should be reserved for private matches with friends, but shouldn't be made available as a main game mode unless they want to try some special event weekend like they do with Battlefield 1 right now. And that's my wish list for Star Wars Battlefront 2. What do you guys think? What do you want to see in the next Battlefront game? Make sure you leave a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more top 10 videos posted by me every week.